Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You, February 2nd, 2026. Live, people, a little early. I can start. It's where the way my work works. Start like the end point that doesn't change. The early point that can change. So here I am, back on a Monday. Yeah, why am I back on a Monday? I don't fucking know. I'm trying my best here, folks. The Star Travis Told You, I thought it was very good, very specific Monday, Wednesday, right? And then a couple weeks ago, I said, Tuesday and Thursday. Then I was dealing with Taylor, that got messed up. And now this week, same thing, Fallout, changes schedules. I'm on that messes that up. So as of right now, that is still the plan. But as always, I say the best thing to do is subscribe, whether you're on social media, Patreon. We do have a free feed, which we drop the schedule, everything like that. Even YouTube, we put the schedule out there, and if there is a change, I announce it. And yes, Fallout now, for some reason, randomly, is dropping on the Tuesday. Don't know why that is. I guess I like the time, at least. That's better. So we'll have the fall finale review tomorrow. I should pull up the whole schedule because it is another raucous week here at Geekverse. But I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a good weekend. If you watch football, happy football weekend. Happy Superbowl weekend, not football weekend. But yeah, we got tons of good stuff today. But today, we're going to talk about said Super Bowl, about apparently no Avengers or Spider-Man Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Home, Brand New Day. The home is still in my mind, ladies and gentlemen. The Brand New Day trailers, non-existent at Super Bowl. We'll talk about, is that a good idea, bad idea? How's it going to go? Saw, we're getting a new Saw film directed by James Whanell and written by Leigh Whanell. Box office breakdown, and I have a couple Patreon questions. If I have time, I'm gonna answer them. If not, especially the one Brent, you know which one I'm talking about, that might be like an evergreen topic I do later this week, because I am on I'm not on Weekly Geek this week. That's Kirkland and Dylan there. But the schedule this week, I do miss the Mondays. I like being the like opener of the week to lay the land. But obviously, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Taylor and Kirkland are still reviewing that, so Game of Thrones fans, if you like that, there you go. Right now, the other episode, obviously today, Travis told you, the other one should be, I think it's going to be Wednesday, because something's happening. Oh yeah, because I don't know. I put the Wednesday. We'll see on that. Maybe it will be the original Thursday. Oh, right. No, I'm going to go Wednesday because of Weekly Geek, right? Because Weekly Geek is going to be on the Thursday. So Travis Told You back to its original days for this week. If I find myself switching too much, maybe it's going to end up going back to Monday, Wednesday. I wanted to try. And again, this is the other thing, right? I said, okay, this week it won't be Monday because we got the Super Bowl and we got the trailer, so we'll be doing that. I guess we'll do this, right? Let me just finish up. Tonight, side quest gonna be recorded. You get that tomorrow. Wednesday is the Fallout Season 2 finale. Anything I'm pimping out is usually recorded the day before 8 p.m. PST. Friday, we're gonna have Weekly Geek. Is it myself or is it Kirkland? I put myself, but I don't remember myself being there. It is, yeah, I got to change on the schedule. Weekly Geek this Thursday is still in Kirkland. That's why Trest's going to be on the Wednesday. And then this Saturday, 1:30 p.m. PST, our Season 3 finale for GMO. That's myself, S-Bubs, and David, the Gimmick Boys. We play WWE 2K25. We're going to do our last season. We got 10 weeks left. I got to secure it. I had to dust off the old GM mode. I got to secure that win. 3-0. If I can go into 2K26, which we're all getting, we're going to keep doing those streams now. With 3 wins, I would absolutely love to do that and just have a whole Undertaker thing going on. And then Sunday, 8 p.m. PST live, we will be talking about all the Super Bowl trailers. Obviously, there's some like the Michael one now. I was going to talk about, I'll talk about with the boys. So we'll see what's going to happen. We're going to talk about the main topic where it doesn't have the same hoopla it used to, but still, we can talk about trailers. We haven't done a Geekverse news episode in a while. There's other news I can talk to them about that they've missed and stuff. And then Patreons this week, what you're getting right now already live on the feed, the Punisher Season 1 retrospective, Phase 2 and up. That's with Kirkland and Taylor, because they never watched any of the Marvel Netflix stuff, so they're talking about that in honor of leading up to the Punisher special. So that's Phase 2 and up. And then Phase 4 and up happening, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday it drops. The first duo bread and butter is in a Kirkland and Taylor edition. They're talking about foods from movies and universes that they would want to eat in real life, which is good. I was worried. Some of these questions, some of these things they're talking about doing, I was worried what they're going to really pull up there. And oh, look at that hair. Such a pain. I'm so excited. I film one more thing this week, and then finally I think later on this week I can get a haircut. I'm so ready. If you're listening to Travis Told You, you know what a complaining I've been doing about it. But yeah, busy week of Geekverse. Hope you enjoy a lot of things. And yeah, subscribe to Patreon as I hit my camera. We'd very much appreciate it. You're getting over, I'm just going to say it now, 50 episodes exclusive this year. Almost an exclusive episode for the week of the year, like one per week. So we're working really hard. We'd very much appreciate you go over there. Thank you to Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Superbad Mike, God Loves Me 69, Hidalgo, Lenny Kravitz, Cocktail Clay, John with No H, Sam Green, and John M. John M., if you're listening, I do got to hit you back up soon for what your Patreon movie is, because if you join our Patreon at the producer tier, you get to get all those exclusive episodes. You're getting 12 of those. Well, you get actually every single episode that we do exclusive. So that's where you're getting over 50. You get to vote on the producer polls, the content polls, so choose what we're reviewing, and you get to pick one movie for us to review on your first time joining. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff there. Would very much appreciate it. So yeah, hope everyone's doing well. That's the rigmarole. Yeah, exciting week, exciting times. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Check out The Gimmick. We did the Royal Rumble review. That was tons of fun this weekend. Really good episode between me and S-Bubs. David had like a cameo appearance, but I guess I should also promote this bad boy, Hey Live, but I hope everyone's doing well. And I guess for next week, I can talk about, let me pull up the calendar here. So next week, there's gonna be, so I guess two things why for the football draft. I do got to promote this, but after 9, our hope is if enough people are available, our after 9 football draft, we want to do it Friday the 13th at 6 p.m. PST. The next day is Valentine's Day, so that's kind of iffy, and then the Sunday, me and Kirkland might be filming some stuff, so those 2 days don't really work out, so that's what we're gonna do then, and we don't want to wait too long. So that's the next after 9 for the football draft, people. So look for that. That's where we're talking about movies that people have won and lost. So I gotta watch Tusk, and then maybe and then Detail has to talk about Suburban Film, and then we're gonna see what else the winner of the next poll pick. So we're reviewing a bunch of movies and talking about football. So that's a fun time. And then Travis told you next week, I think as of now, I'll just have it on it'll be the Tuesday for sure, the 10th, and then the 12th. I don't think there'll be a live episode because depending on when I see it, it's going to be a review of Wuthering Heights. So I don't know if I'm going to get back late Thursday and record that or record that Friday during the day. So I could be live, but that's that one. We're a week away from Wuthering Heights. I cannot wait. So there you go. That's what's happening for the next little bit here. But let me tell everybody, we're live here. Okay, so yeah, so this had come out. I gotta pull out the list here for a man. I've shared live now in the gifts. That doesn't do anything for me. With the trailers, let me pull up. I pulled up all these other years of trailers. That's so my bad. Actually, I should have it in the Discord here, right? Because I wanted to make a point of something. Let's see here. Let me get the trailers for. Yeah, here we go. So Deadline put out, which obviously it's not 100%, but usually pretty accurate. They do this every year where they put out what they've heard and what the buzz is, and also just confirmed like what the trailers are going to be this year at Super Bowl, right? So we have Michael, which already released. Again, these are a combination of trailers / teaser spots as well, right? So probably what's going to happen is you're going to get a teaser spot for Michael and it's going to be like, watch the trailer online now, and it's already a trailer that came out, right? You know, and this happened last year where a few trailers had come out like Mission Impossible. There's something else that it happened before, but you got no Avengers, you got no Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then you got Michael, Hopper, Screen 7, Minions 3, Toy Story 5, Disclosure Day, Mandalorian Grogu, and Super Mario Galaxy. So here's the thing. I think there's a few notes to take from these lists as far as let's start with the actual movies here, right? So Michael, that's Universal, which is NBC, so that makes sense. And they're not even gonna have to pay, right? Minions, same thing, Universal. I think Disclosure Day is also Universal, and then same as Mario Galaxy. So that's 4 big ones right there that don't even gotta pay, right? Because it's like $10 million for 30 seconds, which is crazy. So the other ones, Hoppers, kind of makes sense to me as far as like the ones that make sense on here now are the ones that might need it, right? Because that's the thing of the whole Avengers and Spider-Man having a Super Bowl trailer. It sucks. And even some of the stuff like the Michael trailer coming out, other trailers coming up before, this happened last year. It sucks as far as it's going back in the realm of like Comic-Con and E3 and this, and there's one other one I can't remember. I was thinking about it today, but just stuff that when the podcast started, you know, people talked about this in our town hall, like I loved doing the E3 like Saturday and Sunday. We sat in Dylan's basement, watched it, and then reviewed right after, right? That's gone away because it's just Game Awards, right? Comic Con, very minute sort of information you get now. And even Super Bowl was that lead up of like, man, and I'm gonna look at just from 2021 to now, the Super Bowl trailers, and see why this was probably a good idea or not a good idea for Spider-Man and Avengers to skip it, because a lot of money for maybe nothing's going to do anything, right? And that's the way things have changed. E3 died because it was mismanaged. Keeley came and did a bear show. Comic Con's dying because it costs a lot to run those shows. So why not do our own thing, D23, DC Fandom, or just release it online? And same thing here. Why, when Avengers goes, oh, we've reached 1 billion views, blah, 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 and all these thank you for the teaser watches. If it's not on Disney, ABC, why would they pay that money, right? Now you might say, oh, Mandalorian and Grogu. That's what I think that needs it now, right? Before it was the idea of still, okay, maybe a big movie didn't need it. Like Avengers, we got, I think for Endgame, right? We got something during that. It didn't need it, but still was like tons of eyes watching. Let's get in front of everybody. I think now it is the let's do it for the movies that need it. Hoppers is one that needs it. Right now it's tracking relatively well, I feel, because I think Elio ended up at like 25, 30 million, somewhere in there. Right now it's tracking for like a 50, 60. So better than Elio, which was kind of considered a disappointment. Maybe Hoppers can do something special there. Screed 7, is that also Universal? Because if that is the case, I don't know why they're paying for that. Screen 7, let me see who distributes this thing right now. Let's see, distributed by Paramount, hey? Yeah, that's one where I just feel like you got the audience. I get the idea. You're probably promoting like Sidney Prescott's back and but I just don't know if that is like, is that the audience? Chat, let me know. Let's see. Don't forget the Prestige, right? I do have to watch Prestige, Mike. Yeah, thank you for the NFL draft. Yeah, because Mike or Maddie picked as a win. That's no problem with me. I love watching the Prestige. So yeah, I gotta make a list. I'm all gonna do that next week after the draft there, or after the full thing. Let's see. Espo says now we need a Jeff Keighley produced movie trailer show in February. Endgame got the Hawkeye trailer at Super Bowl. Right, it did. Yeah. Aaron says I'm not surprised since Doomsday doesn't come out to December, but I hope we don't have to wait till March for Spider-Man trailer. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I still think Doomsday is coming out December. I think that is logged, but like, there's still a chance they could kick it, and it's like, well, we paid all that money for kind of nothing that's out next year or like another year, right? So to me, that makes sense. Spider-Man, I feel like Sony's not traditionally done them that much. I think maybe a few times, but that's a big thing to them. But like Screen 7, I feel like you got the audience you're gonna get there. You know, like I don't know. Like I'll see Screed 7. I'm very iffy about it. I love the franchise, but it's like, are more people gonna get on there because Sidney Prescott's back? Like, I don't know. That one I would look at and be like, you know what? That's not worth it. Go other places to market that. I'm not even gonna talk about the Universal ones because that's free, right? Michael, Minions 3, Mario. Those are smart to put those there. Sucks for Hoppers. They'll kind of get like kind of the wind taken out from them. Same Toy Story 5. Does Toy Story 5 need it? I don't think so. I know I'm somebody that has questioned the idea of, hey, is Toy Story 5 going to still have the same billion-dollar juice that 3 and 4 had, right? We saw Lightyear, but that was not the crew. That was something different. What's going to happen here? I still would go, I don't think you need it. I think Toy Story has enough juice. I could see an idea of if we're only going to spend on 2 and we don't want to do Doomsday, then sure. But it's like, I don't know if that's needed. Disclosure Day, that does make sense because it's like, I hate to say it, Cocktail Clay, don't get mad at me, but like Spielberg's not like a guaranteed box office, right? Like he's had some stumbles, like I guess even then though, Ready Player One did better than I thought when we looked it up, right? Because let me see the numbers. I pulled it up, but it's something like the BFG. Like I here's my point is, let's see, did they just call it BFG, right? Or was it the big friendly giant in theaters? Oh look, BFG made 200 million, but then Ready Player One. Because I remember we talked about this on a show and it made a lot more than I thought it made. I think it was like 600 something. Because I remember people talking about it as like a disappointment. Maybe not. The numbers is loading. My point is that Spielberg's just not like a given name now, right? And even then, actually, Disclosure Day, is that Universal as well? Disclosure Day. Who's that distributor? I think it is Universal, right? I could be wrong. Yeah, it is Universal, so it's free. So why not? And that may okay, so 583 pretty much like close to 600. Yeah, that's universal. So that so again, that makes sense. Sure, put it there. And I do think the disclosure day needs that. Spielberg's not a guaranteed billion, or I'm not saying it has to make a billion, but I'm just saying it's not like Nolan or it's not like a Doomsday where it's like guaranteed hit, I'll say, right? Could be iffy, different products. That makes sense. Mandalorian Grogu, that's one where it's like if Disney's going to spend the money, I do think they need it on this. I feel like it's funny how like it's not a for sure lock that it's going to underperform, but I feel like all of us have kind of been, oh, a Star Wars movie's coming out. Let's see, everyone loves Grogu, but I feel like it's just the general. I don't know if it's with these. I think it is. I think it's a bit of everything. I think it's trailers. I think it's our hype, and then I think it's the lack of hype from other people. I think when this was announced, we all kind of thought, oh, this is easy layup, like maybe a 700 million type of hit movie. I feel like as things have been going on, people are like, I don't know about Mandalorian and Grogu. I can't remember who. I think it was Kirkland that was like, I would have went back on that pizza. I think it was him. It was maybe him or, I know it was him or Dylan that made the bet, but I just feel like one of them, I thought it was Kirkland, went back like, you know what? I don't know if I would have made that bet now, right? I just like, we all have this general sense that Mandalorian and Grogu, I'm not saying it's going to bomb, but definitely not be the hit we thought. And I think a lot of us have thought it could bomb, right? Because let me see the numbers. Let's see. Obviously, was much more expensive, right? I'm seeing Solo. Oh fuck! There's a lot of movies called Solo. Shit, Solo Star Wars movie. Holy bull! 393. That's so low. That's so low. I always forget about that. I think that that's the thing where let's see. Star Wars Alliance thinks it's not hitting more than 750. I don't either. I don't think it's in 750. To me, I think it's nestled safely under 500 to 600. I think anything past. I think if it's 700, they're laughing. Like I even 600, I think they're laughing. But I think 700 is like, oh, we're in the gravy now. I think 600's good. I think 500's okay. All right, we got 500. I think once you get below 500, that's when you get into the like, even though it's cheap, it's like, ugh, like Star Wars doesn't have that hoopla, right? And that's where it's gonna be super interesting. Where there's so many scenarios if Mando comes out underperforms and Starfighter underperforms. Like I think episode 10 is going to get green light right away. Espo says they'll show Matthew Lillard in the trailer. They'll put his name near the top, build the poster. Again, I don't think they're going to, well, I guess, right, because I guess we have to see with AI. I just took it as like the AI, they were going to use all the voices, but I guess you could AI a person there, right? So is Matthew Lillard worth the Super Bowl spot? Maybe. I love Lillard, so sure. I do think, Espubs, you're right, where if it's not, I would say it's not just gonna be Lillard. I bet it would be like multiple of them. Like maybe not all of them, but like at least him and Billy. Like I feel like you show, if you're going for the mainstream crowd, show like tributes to that first one, right? So, but I do think for Disney, if they're spending the money, I do think Mandalorian Grogu needs that. Remind people that it's a Star Wars movies back in theaters. Maybe people haven't seen the show they want to catch up on. I think that actively needs it, and they need to have like a poppy fucking teaser trailer. Like that first trailer. And it's not, I'm not just saying that because like after 3 and Boba Fett, my hype for this series has declined. That had nothing. Like I can't remember that when the day came out, it felt like that trailer had not even come out. There was little chatter about it. I can't remember the next day, a couple days later, there was like a different trailer that came out, and the likes and the YouTube watches were gargantuan compared to that. And it wasn't even like a major franchise. You know, it's like the Mandalorian Grogu does need this juice, so they need to make sure it is a cool teaser. Not just Star Wars is back, because Star Wars is still around. It's on fucking Disney Plus. People can watch it anytime. You need to make a reason why people go to see that, right? So we'll see. But that's the thing where I was like, okay, no Avengers, no Spider-Man. Let's see. Clay says Starfire has a chance to be a hit, not going to be a billion though. No, I don't think so. Unless it was like an incredible movie. I just don't think that's gonna happen. Or if they really like hit on like other sequel stuff. But no, I think Starfire has a better chance to be a hit. I really do. I think Mandalorian and Grogu, I've said before, I just have no idea where it's going to go. I've seen scenarios where it overperforms, underperforms, bonds, does well. I cannot wait for May just to see what's going to happen. And also we have to get to the point where we see the movie first too, right? Like we don't know if it's like really bad, then that'll hurt it, right? But so I want to see if like, okay, because that's the debate of like Spider-Man and Avengers. Was that the right call, right? Should they still be Avengers even with December? Is that too early? Why not Spider-Man yet? Da, da, da. So I've pulled up all the Super Bowl trailers, the biggest trailers from the past, from 2021 to now. And I want to see how many, because we had talked about this before, right? Where Yeah, Supergirl's doing a spot at the Puppy Bowl, of course. That's what they do, right? But I remember it was something, maybe it was Superman last year, and then with the Barbie, they didn't do Super Bowl trailers. And everyone's like, how do you not do that? Like, Barbie's a big thing. Superman, you want to promote, and Superman did well without it. And that was the point where they did, we talked about this in the cast many times, so sorry if you're a long-time listener, but for new people, when they did the Flash there, I agree with that. Thought that was right. I thought that was a good idea to put that out there, especially with Michael Keaton. And I remember when I was watching the Super Bowl, both my parents-in-law were like, "Oh, Michael Keaton's in this." I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, I can't wait to see this." When it came time to see that movie, though, they did not see it. They waited for the drive-in, which was like a reduced rate. I don't think it goes towards the real like box office. Like I'm sure it does, but you know what I mean, right? And it was like way after the fact. It was like that movie came out like it was end of August, beginning of September, where they're just doing like the matinee drive-ins, right? Like, see what you missed this summer. So they were a point where same thing when they showed it, it was smart in my opinion. Like retroactively, it didn't matter, but I was like, this makes sense to show people of that age, hey, the Batman you grew up with is back, and you want to see it. But then who knows why my parents didn't see it? Parents all didn't see it. Other people can talk that for whatever reason that didn't happen, right? So with Barbie and Superman, we kind of got that sense of like they just paid all that money for the Flash and it did nothing. The Flash fucking bombed and ate shit, right? So it's like, why would they do that? And I think a lot more studios are doing that. The same thing with E3, where it's like, instead of doing this, we can do our own show online, just drop it. Or Keeley can do something. Instead of Comic-Con, we can do our own thing. So now with Super Bowl, unless you're on that channel, it's like, we can do our own thing. And if they feel, maybe this is a situation where, you know, it could have just been like a hype video, but still, when they go, hey, we reached 1 billion views with those trailers. Let's say they legitimately look at that, they were surprised, just happy with that. They can go, hey, we don't need the Super Bowl. But maybe let's say they had a goal of 1 billion or whatever, and it didn't hit that. They go, you know what? We need to spend some money. People aren't talking about Avengers Doomsday yet. We got to get there. Maybe those 4 teasers with the leaked hype and the people talking about them, they just went, you know what? We don't gotta spend this money. Like 10 million, we can use that for marketing other places, you know? Like we can give Downey more of that to come back for Avengers 18, you know? So, oh, no, Necra, come on. Oh, nothing. God damn it. Espo says, I really think that Taylor prediction of Mando getting Thunderbolts is possible. I do too. I really do. Taylor is like, I don't understand Taylor. He is now like he's more of a I think he's a savant with the hot takes, like long range stuff. I still think if me and him, because he didn't do a top 10 like Mike did that, and I want to actually do that as a topic once and go by everyone's list and look at Mike is doing a top 10 2026 box office draft. A bunch of us put in our top 10, we get points based on if we're right, etc. I think if I did a that with Taylor, I still think I would beat him overall. But I think Taylor's like hot takes or like long range stuff is pretty accurate nowadays. He was all about the Barbenheimer. He thought it was gonna be big. He drafted them both. He was right about Zootopia and Avatar. There was another one in there. I can't remember he did call, but I think he said Supergirl's knew that, and him being that with Mando, I could see Mando. Like, I would not take the pizza bet on that, but I could see if he said, oh yeah, it makes about 400, 350. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's in that territory, right? And then, yeah, you could also see it do 9 mil. That's the thing. And that's where box offices don't know, right? But let's take a look and see. That's where maybe Disney just went, do we need to do this for the money? Okay, so 2021, we got Coming to America 2, which I still have never seen. That makes sense to me. Also, that's just like Amazon, right? So they had fuck you money, but like still, that makes sense. Legacy sequel. Oh, and man, I just see on the side here. Big fucking shout out. We'll probably talk about this on Geek First, maybe. Big legendary shout out to Catherine O'Hara. Man, she. Yeah, maybe I had to talk about this Geek First because I want to do a longer thing. This is an hour thing, but I think like many of you guys that are in that 30 age range grew up with this woman, between Beetlejuice, between Home Alone, between Night Before Christmas, and she is what you can make a case for the greatest, like definitely one of the greatest Canadian Canadian actresses. For actresses, you could just put maybe number 1. I know there's probably many people dramatic, but like she was such a treasure, and how much she did. And even these past few years where it felt like she had this like legendary career in the 90s and was still in stuff in the 2000s, like would pop up in 6 Feet Under, just that I rewatched. But then these last few years just remind everybody how good she could be. And she could do stuff like Schitt's Creek, which I've never watched. I've seen stuff because Emily watched it. This well-timed, so good comedic-wise performance to something like in Last of Us, where she had the dramatic chops. I have like people might not think that. like I said, I think I can make a case for being the best actress. I'm not sure even actors like that might be yeah, whole conversation. She is one of the best, one of the greats. It was super sad because she's just one of those people that you kind of think will just always be around, especially because like every Christmas you see her, right? And it's just, man, we're getting to that point of all these movies we watched growing up with in 5 years or so, everyone's gonna be dead. It's like when we watch Harry Potter, it's like, man, every year there's someone gone, and it's not a tough watch, but it's just like it just makes you a little sad, right? So shout out to Catherine Hare, rest in peace. Legendary career. She is a legend, one of the best to ever do it. Yeah, that was a big bummer to hear this weekend. So I just saw her on the side of Rotten Tomatoes, and like I said, maybe Geek First will talk about it, but yeah, just one of the best, like one of a kind. So coming to America too, Amazon, fuck you money, they don't care. Falcon Winter Soldier, I think that makes this one below. Now, granted, I don't know, I can't remember where these all were, so I'll say it like Clarice. I forgot this show existed. Episode 1, Trying to Save the Land. I forgot. So it's like Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. I forgot the show existed till a couple weeks ago. This was for season 1. I think this is CBS. I think the Super Bowl was there. If not, that was a risky play. But yeah, one and done. Didn't have the same Hannibal. But so Falcon Winter Soldier. To me, the Disney Plus stuff made sense. I think the year before they did that like kind of montage of here's all the shows coming, and this was that. Retroactively, you might, well, I don't think so. They made a lot of money off of subs, right? So to me, that was a good idea. Keep pimping the service, promote the big show. Anything with the early Disney Plus stuff, that made sense to me. Old, that's a Shyamalan movie. That's a weird, again, I don't have the preference if they're on Super Bowl, so I'll just take it as they're not, like the same network has them, because obviously if it's like a Paramount one and CBS has Super Bowl, that makes sense. Old is like, I can see it a little bit because of the twist and M. Night Shyamalan and just the idea of the pitch, and you see enough people like, that's a messed up movie. So I give that the pass. I don't know if it like helped though. Like let's look at that. Let's see the numbers. That's the point of this, right? To see is if it helped. I think Falcon Winter Soldier, that helped. Do I think Clarice and Coming to America, that helped? No. Let's see Old. Let's see what that did box office wise, right? So it made 89 million. I can't remember what it was back in 2001. Sorry, 2021. But let's say it costs $10 million, somewhere like that, to make it get a trailer in Super Bowl. It costs like the movie made 89. So that's negative 10. You're down to 79 million. So it's like, not so much. Raya and the Last Dragon. Yeah, sure. Makes sense. That wasn't again promoting Disney Plus, right? So there you go. Nobody was a hit, right? That worked out. Let me see. They made Nobody too, so I'll say like that panned out for them. Yellowstone, F9, they just had fuck you money at that point, right? So they're just throwing. That's when we got the big movie. So sure, that one I'll say made sense. So overall, kind of a mixed bag for 2021. Okay. Let's see. So there's another one that lost out there. The DC The World's Needs Hero. It showed a bunch of them, but was primarily focusing on Black Adam. Black Adam ate it too, right? So for Warner Brothers to be like, why should we do the Super Bowl when The Flash and Black Adam ate it? Let's not do this, right? So that's in 2022. The Lost City. What did The Lost City end up making here? The Lost City. Enjoyable movie. I like that. I was scared because it said total estimated domestic video sales, but I just didn't see the video sales. So domestics at 8.8 million. I'm like, what happened? 191 million. So big hit for that. So, and that to me, that makes sense as far as that is a more romantic comedy that was geared towards women, right? That makes sense because as like this, like one, it's like a complete like sexist thing nowadays where I know people go, oh, well, there is a lot of people that men watch sports and their ladies just are there for the halftime show or for the celebrities or just because it is the big game of the year, right? There are tons of female football fans now, more than ever probably, right? Or at least that we know because of social media and watching the stadiums, everything like that. I'm saying it obviously is still more primarily men, but the Lost City, that does make sense to throw something on there because the ladies might like that, right? And even then, I enjoyed it. So, Nope. Like the Jordan Peele Nope one, same thing. How did that? Isn't that Jordan Peele's like lowest, like 171? Like worked out, but like it wasn't like a massive hit, right? So that one's kind of like in the middle. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's where I feel like this was on CBS. Uncharted, like that kind of worked out. Multiverse of Madness, and then Moon Knight, Jurassic World Dominion. So all, and that was $1 billion movie. Ambulance didn't help Ambulance, and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Amazon fucking money. So I'd say 2022 was like a good, probably more of a good year, right? So Lost City I'd say is a win. Sonic 2 I'd say is a win. Uncharted I'm not going to count. Doctor Strange was a win. I'd say Moon Knight was a win in Jurassic World. So, and like Rings Power. So I'd say like 5 wins right there. So okay, let's get to 2023. What came out this year? The Flash. There you go. No. Dungeons of Dragons. No. Fast X, which was the lowest grossing Fast. No. Scream 6, which I think did like okay, but 65. No. Transformer, Rise of the Beast. No. Indiana Jones style Destiny. No. Air. That was Amazon, so it's fuck you money. Creed 3, I think that did well, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 3, okay, that's a yes. Let me just see what Creed 3 meant. I don't even know. 276, I'd say, yeah, with that budget, that's a win there. Let's see here. And then what else is there? And then these are shows. So yeah, to me, out of the movie, let's go to the movies. Flash is a no. Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm saying for success, right? Because these are movies that either bombed or underperformed, not quality, just the money wise. Flash, no. Dungeons & Dragons, no. Fast X, underperform. Screen 6, like, I won't count it anywhere. But I say it didn't get I'll say it didn't get a massive boost, right? If anything, like 65, and then Transformers Rise of the Beast, Dial Destiny, so 7, and then Guardians is 8, and then Creed is that. So like 7 out of 9. Because like, what did Scream? Because I can't even look what Scream 5 made because they just called it Scream. So that made 138. So Scream 6. Let's see what that made. Scream 6, if I can load up. But like all those other movies underperformed. So it's like you're talking about, and that was a different year of the box office. The Scream 6 made 169. So technically, you could say maybe they look at they go, well, we got a little bit of boost from Scream 1 to or Scream 5 to Scream 6. Maybe the Super Bowl did that. But the rest of these, 65 bombed, Dungeons & Dragons underperformed. So no, that's definitely a year where it's like we spent all this money and didn't really get as much, right? 2024, so Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, was that not going to be $1 billion already? I think the only thing that I would say it's works towards it because Deadpool had been gone for a little bit and they want to pimp out that Hugh Jackman was back, right? Where Doomsday, you could make the case of, hey, why don't you want to show Toby's back or Hugh's back or Downey? I guess maybe they're not ready. They feel they can do that on their own, which social media, even in 2 years, has grown, right? But that one, okay, makes sense. Also, is $1 billion. I've closed the numbers, of course. Let's see. What was the Quiet Place Day 1? What did Quiet Place Day 1 do? Day 1. Let's see what it did here. That's loading up there, so I'll come back to that. Despicable Me 4, sure. Fall Guy, no. If no. Inside Out 2, yeah, that worked. That's almost similar to Toy Story 5, right? It's just kind of reminding people. King of the Planet Apes, I think it's like in the middle. It did well, but not like a massive boost. Monkey Man, I think again, kind of in the middle, like good for a smaller independent movie. It probably did help, but did it like grow up to be a massive hit? No. Twisters, I say it worked. Wicked worked. So again, more of a mixed year for 2024. Quiet Place Day 1 made 261. Okay, I think it's like a good to mix. So there you go. 2024 is mixed, and then for 2025, we had Jurassic World Rebirth. That made about like what 700, 800. So that worked. Megan 2 did not work. Lilo and Stitch did some spots, but Mission Impossible Final Reckoning did not work. Thunderbolts did not work. Novocaine, like worked enough. I feel like I'm sure like with the budget that's fine, but I don't think it like blew it up, right? But like okay, worked enough. Smurfs did not work. So one, that was already a disappointing year for trailers, but like, so you had last year being the year that just came off with Thunderbolts. And what was it? I closed it, but there was another. I thought there was another Disney one, but like Thunderbolts being a big one where they paid for that money, and Thunderbolts was their lowest grossing movie that year, right? So it's like, what is the point of it? So it makes sense to me. As much as I'm bummed out because I loved Super Bowl Sunday as far as the show with also trailers and like getting together with the boys, we're still gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk about what comes out. There'll be other news, but just it feels definitely more lacking. And I feel like that's gonna be the way it is with social media, with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts, with all this type of stuff. Like, when we're talking about the box office, there's new ways to market your film or become a hit, and it doesn't have to just be the biggest avenues, right? So yeah, it's a bummer. I was hoping to at least get one of them for one, enjoyment for myself, and then personally, I'll see that like gives a big boost for on the episodes, right? Like Super Bowl for us used to be a good time to get new viewers, because it could lead to people that like the SEO of Superbowl popping off, people looking around. Maybe someone saw a trailer that usually doesn't listen to podcasts and want to hear more breakdown of it. Like 2022, that Super Bowl is really big for us with Multiverse Madness and stuff. So that, from a fan point of view, bummer, and from a personal point of view, bummer. I know they'll just probably drop it on a random Tuesday one, not whatnot, and not as good. But hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? That's the name of the game here, being a podcaster. So, all right, let's see what is next here. What did I have here? Oh my goodness. So, Saw. Should I? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll do the box office first, because Saw is a bit more, because I can see there's obviously some people probably not listening to it. So then if you want to tune out, I give you the favor of wanting to tune out there. But let's pull up the box office this weekend. Very fun weekend. And I get to give my mini review if I did see Send Help. I saw Send Help. Really enjoyed it. A great time there. McAdams is... Luckily, the movie's good. If the movie was like disappointing, I'd say McAdams is still worth the seeing it. There's... I think enough beats in there that you know which it's going to go, but there's also some fun, clever, different new things they add in there. I think I gave it like a 4.5, like an 8. I think I'm there. Maybe get to like a 4.5. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it, but I definitely would rewatch it again. I really enjoyed it. One of Sam Raimi's, like, you say like better movies, but he's had so many great ones, right? Like, I just think it's probably in like if there's an A tier, probably like higher on the B tier. Some fun, kind of scare, some fun moments, a little iffy CGI here and there, but that budget was 40 million, so they're laughing. Already made 20 million, I think, just domestically, right? So that's cool that it made that. I'm excited. Here's the thing, I liked it so much that I feel like there's a few categories that would come up in Golden Geeks next year. Obviously, that's a whole year away, so we have to see. Definitely McAdams, but no, I think if you're into genre, horror, and obviously Sam Raimi, but any of that stuff, like, I definitely recommend it. It is rated R and has some gross stuff. I think it's like a kind of what they talked about, how it's like, there's stuff popping in your face and gross stuff. Like, it feels like almost like a Halloween Horror Nights type of gross. It's not to like the Saw levels. Funny enough, I was going to talk about Saw. There is some grotesque stuff, and there's some more moments that you think are going to be bad, and maybe they steer away from them. But no, I really liked it. It is what people described. It is Misery on a beach. Love Misery. It's not as, I'd say, good as Misery, because Misery, I think, is a bit more of a... The stuff in Send Help is a bit more of the action or like out there stuff happening, where Misery is a bit more character based, right? And a bit more, I think, more subtle on the trying to outwit one another, where there's some outlandish stuff. Dylan O'Brien has this fucking laugh. This movie, he's done the trailer. It's great, man. And it's funny because, like, I really like Dylan O'Brien in this. I had to go down on his IMDb. I was like, oh, he's like, this is his best performance probably, right? I don't think I've seen Dylan O'Brien in anything. I never watched. He's just like one of those actors on like Channing Tatum when I watch Roofman. I'm like, oh, he's finally great. With like him, like, I got no reason to say that, because like I don't remember seeing him much, right? Like, okay, Teen Wolf, I never watched. Maze Runner, I didn't watch any of that stuff. Okay, I haven't seen Twinless yet. I hear good things. I haven't watched Saturday Night. Like. He's an Infinite with the Mark Wahlberg movie, man. Bumblebee, okay, he's the voice of Bumblebee. Like, I think, like, I actively can say, I think this is the only thing I've seen him in. Because I'm looking at this whole thing, and this is crazy. I'm not counting Bumblebee. This is kind of crazy. I would have thought that I'd seen him in something, but I have not. Not in a single thing. Not even an anniversary. That's nuts. So... liked him in this. There's a fun Easter egg with him and that character. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's all like 4 out of 5. Definitely will watch again in the future. And then number 2, the big story. And this is where a guy, like, I don't know him at all. Even that it's coming from Market Pillar Studios. This guy, I've always said it before, I'm a bad, like, we are on YouTube. Sure, we like to blow up and do good numbers there, sure. But YouTube is great because we do the video version. It's good for live listeners, and it's a good database, right? Because on the Patreon before, it's like most times people would, like, the episodes would expire, right? So I am on YouTube. We do YouTube things, try to always grow it, but I'm not in the YouTube game or the streamer game, like Twitch streamers, anything like that. And I guess that's how he started, because I had looked up after the fact of how, he started. I had seen his face before, probably on some memes, but I could never, like, gun to head, like, name who he is. And that's just the stuff I'm into, right? So, and there's tons of people I've talked to, same thing that don't know. Obviously, tons of people do, because same thing. Okay, 17 million on the whole at the end of the year. Would you be talking about that in the sense of the biggest releases, the bit like the 30th biggest release of the year? No, not at all. Maybe it won't even make the top 50, right? By the time it's said and done, because I think it's only going to be in the theaters for another week. But I think a big case, and what we've talked about before, is fantastic for budgetary reasons. This thing cost $3 million, made 17.8. Quadrupled the budget. That's what you want to be looking for, because that's the thing where it's like, I remember one of the years, I can't remember what it was. I had to check out Twinless. Okay, I will. I remember. I'm not a Maze Runner head. No, not at all. The only thing I remember from Maze Runner was that Dylan Bryan almost fucking died in those movies. Yeah, Twinless I do gotta check out. The only thing I remember from Twinless is like it was a Sundance movie online, and it just like leaked everywhere. And I remember just seeing a bunch of naked pictures on Dylan O'Brien, not looking for them, but just like because it was a big deal time. It leaked on the timeline, and it was just screenshots of the sex scene. So I gotta check it out because I liked his work in here. And with Iron Lung, I want to try and check out. As everyone knows, it's hard for me to go see more than one movie a week right now. I do want to, just for the mere fact of, I want to support the guy. Again, it's more the system of it, right? This guy's got 73 million followers across all social media. He has no distribution. He's made no film before. He has no big star, none of that. This movie came out at 17 million. He doesn't actively need my help, but it's a way like I like to support what he's doing. Obviously, as someone that's an independent filmmaker and wants to, I've got nowhere near the following of that, right? But that's the idea. It's like, okay, to accept more people in that market, because that's the same thing. 3 million, like, oh, that's what I was saying. 1 year on the list of like most profitable movie, I think it was like Smile was like in the top 3. Maybe it was number 1 or something like that. But it was the idea of, sure, you make Avengers and you make all this money, right? Or a big blockbuster, you make all this money. But if you also spend a bunch of that money, you're not keeping all that, right? And then you're splitting with the theaters and all this other stuff goes into it. That's where it comes down to, that guy made quadruple the budget. So now whether he wants to make an Iron Lung 2 or something else, like he has proof, be like, especially now in the future for advertising, anything like that, he has the backlog say, hey, look, I did this and people tuned into this and like this, right? Or just a sense to get another crew. Just to be like, hey, you want, and that's where it could go. Like, I'm not saying he wants to ditch these people, but let's say another cinematographer, or a different writer, or a different crew person, or anybody who wants to change up that maybe he couldn't work with them again or didn't like the experience. Hey, look at what I have going on. And April, that's good you say, because you said Iron Lung was really good, looked great. That was the thing where I do want to support, and I want to try and see it. I think I'm going to try and do a late night showing this week and try to do a 10. It's only in theaters, I think, here till till the weekend. So I want to try. I guess I'm trying to get a haircut. There's always filming, podcasting, life stuff. So I want to try and get there just to support, because I want to support that idea of that's the method is, and especially tons of these stars that make like, good for them. Go get your bag. But it's like, oh, 10 million, 15 million. It's like, why did this movie bomb? Like, what? It's like, okay. There's like, I'm not saying you can't get paid that amount, but sometimes for the health of the movie or the industry, you might have to cut back a little bit, right? It's the same way as fucking an Oppenheimer or Dune, when Chalamet and Batista or Matt Damon and Cillian Murphy or Florence Pugh, they take less than their rate. Why? So you can get this fantastic movie, big release, and you're not going to eat it. I guarantee you in Dune or Oppenheimer, if they all got paid the budgets they usually do, the actors, the movies, of course, it'd still be a profit, but nowhere near, So that's the thing where this shows where, and I like that he said like, hey, I don't care about the numbers, just the fact that it was a success and I can pay my crew a bit more. That's great. So it's the idea of, I don't think Mark Pillow needs my help. It seems like he's figured it out, which crazy. That's where it's so funny, the craziness of like, we got, not that we would have done his content, but just the craziness of, we got on YouTube in 2016 and I was like, oh, this guy's been here for a while, just 2012. It's so crazy, some of those early adapters, and I'm always kick myself because around that era, Emily was always like, oh, you should start a podcast. And I always like kick tires. I was like, I don't know if anyone would listen. I don't know if I'd be good at it. Always mad. Not saying I would have got up to those statuses, but the same point of like, definitely those people that started earlier and it was consistent and some good content, you could get those tractions now. Now the algorithms, man, it sucks. Like I've said that before. YouTube videos, even podcast wise, like the way they do these things now, the numbers are just, it's, if you look into it, it's such a hassle sometimes to try to break through, right? But that's where it is. So very happy for that. Very cool that did what it did, and I hope that's what it's more of is. And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna see them all. Like I like this because, or I like the idea of it because based off game and this idea of the most blood ever in a film and it's a horror film. I like that type of stuff, right? I was waiting because the fan reaction was like 92%. The critical score was, I think, like Rotten Tomatoes or Ron, right? And I don't know, and that's fine because like that's not what I'm gonna base off, right? I still want to see it because of, to support the thing. I just wasn't sure like I'm gonna see it, but the fact of like, what am I preparing myself for? Right? Is it like well reviewed because like people are big fans of Marco Pillar, and no matter what he does, that's gonna be great, right? Or is it like actually liked? Where right now, and even then it's tough, right? Like 89% for the popcorn meter, but then 50% on the dot, right? And I've seen a lot of like 50% movies I love, or even raw movies, right? So I eventually, if I don't see in theaters, I'll definitely pay for it on VOD, but I want to see in theaters because I also don't know what his release system is going to be. I don't know, once it goes away, is he going to like keep it around for a bit or stuff? I don't know. So yeah, big success story. Very cool to see on that front. Number 3 is Melania at 7 million. I So here's the thing. You want to see this stuff, that's great. You want to support it, that's fine. The one that surprises me the most is because I was watching, because we got, I was like, who was watching this? I remember it was a couple days ago on the Friday, and it was just 5, but still 5 people here in Kelowna, Canada that are watching it. I guess maybe they could be Americans that are here or live there, but I'm just like, what Canadian? Even if you're super right, be super right for Canada. Like, even if you're super right, why are you watching this movie in a like watching this documentary in a theater? Like, it was so odd when I saw some people here, but I don't know. I guess that's gonna bomb though, right? Because I think it had like a production budget like 40-60 million. So good for that. Because yeah, fuck those people. I don't care. I'm not watching this doc ever. I have no interest in it. Yeah, I don't know. Celebrate the success this weekend. You got to be on this big box office list. Unfortunately, you and your family are on a lot of other lists this weekend. So, if you want to keep supporting a bunch of fucking pedophiles, good on you. Zootopia 3 still making 5.8 million. This thing came out when? November? This thing's still chugging along. Shelter made 5 million. What are they making that for? It's funny because and that's the way the world works, right? With this and Working Man, those look very cheesy, like Jason Statham vehicles. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I need to see these. I do love Statham, but not enough to watch everything he does. But this was the first one in a while I saw it because it looked like a bit more of a take and like more serious. So I was like, oh, I might be actually interested in this. Of course, that's the one that bombs. And I don't see it though either, right? Because like there's so much, but had a budget of 50, box of 13. Yeah, it's probably going to eat it. That's probably, and the thing is like, also, I don't know if it is reasonable to put out a Jason Statham movie every year and expect it to be successful, right? Like, I don't know if that's going to be the case. After Fire and Ash, still, yeah, 5.5 million. Mercy, 4.7. Housemaid at 3.5. That's still making money. Mari Supreme crossing 150 million this weekend at 2.9. Silent Hill, let's look at that. And then Bone Temple. Those are some 2 tough ones, eh? April says nobody's watching it. Fake numbers. Yeah, fake numbers, right? We can just say that with the fake news. It's fake numbers. I drive by a huge Shelter billboard on my way to campus like 3 times a week. Where's your letterbox review, Bubs? It didn't sell you? You didn't want to go see Shelter after that? Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if you've seen the trailer. It looked like a more serious one, so that was fun. But again, let me pull up because I know this week, 20 years later, lost a lot of theaters because I think they were just like look at that. It went from 1 to 6 to 11 week 3. And that's where I always will say a good and bad movie, yes, of course, makes some difference, but I always hate when people say, oh, what do you gotta do? Just make a great movie. Well, 20 years later, in my opinion, it's a great movie. And critic score, audience score, very well reviewed. So for it to be like, oh, it's a great movie, why like 53 million? It's gonna barely break its production budget. Again, I'm just waiting for that news of we're going into production. Because if not, I'm getting really worried. So that was 60 million. Then what was Return to Silent Hill? Let me find out. Return to Silent Hill, what that budget was. I think it was like 40 something, right? Or 23. So 19 million. It's gonna like scrape by. Maybe they got a deal on some good streaming services, make some money. But I think Silent Hill is dead as a movie franchise. Maybe something streaming or something like that, right? So yeah, interesting week. So we'll see. And then also because I will talk about this too quickly. Because so what I'm gonna do is Brent sent in a question. So Brent, if you're listening, I'm gonna probably, unless something massive breaks on Wednesday, I think I'm gonna do that as an evergreen where he asked if I could only pick 10 movies to select as far as the must watch before Doomsday, what are they? And the caveat is, though, Marvel films, not just MCU, Marvel films, because obviously it makes sense because a lot X-Men, Spider-Man, etc. So as of right now, I think that's either way I'm doing it Wednesday, but I think that's going to be the evergreen topic where I'm going to look at the list. I have a couple, but then a couple ones that are like, man, what do I like? Do I go this route? Do I go that route? I don't know. So that's going to be the evergreen topic on Wednesday. And then Thursday got Weekly Geek. S-Bub, send in a question on the last Travis and Taylor told you. For some reason, Patreon, like, it must have been because it was a link, but it flagged as like inappropriate, like, you've never seen this before. You can't be sending this. I turned that off. So hopefully in the future that doesn't happen. So I apologize in the future. If you've ever sent in a question on Patreon to Travis told you and never answered, unless we said, oh, we forgot it, we always answer the question. So that was just something weird that had happened. I've never seen that before. So maybe that happened before and I've missed some, but always remind us. So yeah, he asked about this Bait show coming to Amazon Prime in this year in March. And it's like Riz Ahmed auditions for Bond. And then he goes back to do like a second audition. His family finds out it's kind of like this audition kind of ruins his life. It looks interesting. I found it interesting that Amazon doing it because they have Bond, right? So it's like, oh man, are we going to see this Bond franchise already like pimped out a lot of places? I think this one's like a review base for me because I saw the teaser, which was weird because there's a lot of like fake teasers. It was hard to see, and then I watched the clip. I liked it. I like Riz Ahmed a lot. I think he's a very underrated actor, and I like that idea. I think that automatically disqualifies him from Bond, but I don't think he was going to get it. But it's like you being in a Bond video game, it's like you're not going to get that call. So it's interesting. That one will be based on definitely reviews because I need to watch. I made a list today of shows that I'm behind on, like the new shows, right? So I love LA, still have not watched it. Watched the first 5 minutes, someone came up, I want to watch it. I love Rachel Sennett, it's like work, so I want to watch that. There's that Bernthal Tessel Thompson show on Netflix, I want to watch that, I'm behind. There's a show coming out, I gotta, what is it? There's two of them. There's one with Jason Bateman, David Harbour, and somebody else where it's like a love triangle show. What is it called? Bateman, David Harbour. Let's see here. DTF St. Louis. Okay, so obviously down to fuck. So let's see. A darkly comedic tale of three middle-aged individuals entangled in a love triangle, leading to one's ultimately demise. What the fuck? So I heard that. Didn't even see the trailer. I heard that, and it's Jason Bateman, David Harbour, Linda Cardellini, and Richard Jenkins, and some other people in there. But those are the top four. That got my right away because that combo of Harbour, Bateman, and Linda Cardellini, like a great trio, and that's coming out. I don't know when, but that's on my list. And then what's the other one? The Rachel Weisz Netflix. It was something interesting too, and the book was like it's like it might be a raunchy love one. Oh, Vladimir. And I'll have to pull it up too, because the poster is literally, pardon my French, April, I know you might be listening, but literally it is a book spread apart, and it looks like it's hands on a vagina and clitoris. I will pull it up. I'm not being a fucking weirdo here. I'm getting the poster. So I saw this poster. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it's literally evoking that, right? And then I thought it has to be something like that. Here we go. Here's the poster. And it's Rachel Weisz, who I love. Talk about before Eva. Look at that poster. Look at that book. That book is trying. That book is trying to subliminal message you into watching the show and be horny, right? But the actual plot line of what is it? A woman's life spirals as she develops an obsession with her alluring coworker. Her determination to make her fantasies real leads to dark, humorous, complicated situations. There's really no one else in this. Oh, there's Jessica Henwick. Okay, that's great. And John Slattery. I was completely wrong. Oh, Matt Walsh. He's funny too. But yeah, again, same thing as a trio. Henwick, Wise, and Slattery. I love Slattery. Love Mad Men. So that's where there's a lot of shows I want to catch up on, and I'm very excited for it, and I like that. So that's the thing, I suppose, with that thing. That's an unapproved Wuthering Heights poster. Absolutely. You could have seen Margot Robbie's hands there, right? So that's the thing with Bait. It's going to be primarily on, I like the premise, and I liked what I saw. It's going to be primarily on the reviews thing with that one, because I have a lot of shows that are new shows I got to catch up on, because I caught up on a lot of movies. And then, and a lot of time too, I'm like Maddie, right? He talks about like right now I've been rewatching Brothers and Sisters from 2000s. S Bubs, do you even know what that fucking show is? Anyone that was not is not 30 know what that show is? It's like an ABC family drama, and I liked it back in the day. But there's a lot of times just like I need something on back in the work, right? So I don't want to watch movies I've seen before or stuff. I don't mind if I'm working out. I don't even mind if I'm like cleaning the room because that's easy. But when I'm doing like heavy work for hospital stuff, it's like, okay, I'll just put on something that like I've seen before, right? So, but it looks interesting. So all right, and finally here, because how much time we got here? Got about 20 minutes. I gotta find the quote here. Maybe I'll find it here. But yeah, so it was a crazy kind of turn of events for Saw people. Obviously, to set up the situation, if you don't know or if you are interested but you're not gonna watch the films, they made Saw 10 a couple years ago. That came out, did very well. They're making Saw 11, and I guess there was some situation where the producers could not agree on the vision of uh the the sequel or the follow-up, right? And again, this is a movie where Saw 10 and Saw 11 were technically going to be prequels to Saw 2. At least Saw 2 or Saw 3, right? Maybe S Bubs, if you know the timeline on that. I just can't remember. I think it's no, it's Saw 2, right? Yeah, because the man has the short hair, right? It's like a prequel. It's around that time. Yeah, it's prequel between two. um, so they're making these sequels that are prequels, right? They couldn't agree, gets shut down. Even the director posted the final image of Saw 10, and then it was announced Blumhouse bought it, which I was very iffy on because Blumhouse to me was, again, the little engine that had some great success. Same thing, doing smaller budgets, some great ideas. And then it feels like once they got bigger, they kind of just was like, let's do this, let's do this. I felt like their quality control was out of their control. They were just greenlighting a lot of stuff just to make a profit. And then I think stuff like Megan 2 showed like, not everything works, right? Or Woman in the Black, whatever, Woman in the Yard. A lot of stuff these past couple of years, especially last year. So to me, Blumhouse getting it, I was like, I don't know about this, right? And then they're like, well, they do the classic. Like, every time they make a new Terminator, well, James is very involved. Every time they make a new Halloween, well, John's very involved. Even though, like, John Carpenter's like, sorry, I just got a sequel. I did the score, but I just got a paycheck. I don't care about the sequels. So when they said James Wan and Leigh Whanell, who James Wan also become a horror legend icon, and then Leigh Whannell's done pretty good himself. They say, hey, they're heavily involved. You know, they're involved in this. I'll get to that going as Bubs because that's what we're going to talk about because this whole thing's interesting to me. Um, it's okay. How much are they involved? Are they actually heavily involved, or is it like James and John with their franchises, right? So then Sundance came around this weekend, and I forgot that Saw, I guess, debuted at Sundance. So they had Billy the Puppet there with his gear, and they were doing an anniversary screening. So we got lots of quotes and talking about stuff, and that was great because not that I never think there was a falling out between James and Leigh, but I think it's more just Leigh wanting to go do his own stuff, like direct and write on his own, because they did Conjuring together, and Leigh Whannell obviously acted in Conjuring. He acted in Saw. He acted in Dead Silence. Dead Silence. They were working together a lot. And then when Leigh went on his own, I worried like, oh, is there a falling out or something like that? And it seems like as right now they're chummy. Like everything from that, the screening seemed good, and now they're working on together. I'd say, okay, seems like nothing there. That's just me was worried for nothing, right? I'll have to find. There's just a specific quote, but it went from, okay, they're involved to they're doing a full like screening talking about it. And then just randomly, it wasn't even, I don't think at that panel, it was like days later where it was announced that James Wan is directing, here we go. I got that quote too. James Wan is directing this new Saw film and Leigh Whannell's writing it, which is like good because I feel like they both kind of like Leigh Whannell, the Wolfman. I and Taylor like Wolfman, but I know a lot of people didn't. Has James Wan done anything since Malignant, which I fucking love? Malignant, very underrated movie. Let me see. Director. Oh no, it's probably fucking Aquaman, right? The Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, it was Aquaman too, right? That's the last thing he did, which I feels like, you know, I don't love these comments you're saying here. I suppose this is what makes me worried. Yeah, Aquaman 2. He got fucked around a lot, so that's why I could see him going back to it. So he goes, he says, he goes after people who don't appreciate their lives. If you're a scumbag but you appreciate your life, he doesn't see you as someone who's wasting your life. So I want to go back to what we touched on in the first movie. And they even said like it'd be hard, I'm paraphrasing, but like it'd be hard to do a Saw movie without Jigsaw, right? And then he says it's a piece of him, both Lisa, it's a piece of IP that was created by us, and opposed to us trying to reshape or refashion someone else's IP, it's our own little universe, so it feels like it's coming home. And that was so funny. There was a bunch of people, and I get why here, right? And I did not see this SBUB, so I don't like anything you're saying right now. I was very excited, but let's see. Viranon said that James Wan had to be strongly talked out of just deleting all song continuity and starting over because he supposedly hates all the sequels. This we kind of know. We've talked about this before, where he even said like he was part of. I think he wrote the story for 2, and then was a bit more part of 3, and then after that he was out, right? And that was definitely just a situation of these 2 young guys made a hit movie. You want the money, and definitely take the money, guys. Like you got to do that, right? So for me, though, I don't like this where you said Viranon, who is like he is I'd say like a C+ tier scooper, but to his credit, he has a very big Saw source. He was one of the first people to be like, the Saw movie's not happening, or even Saw 10 got a lot of stuff right, the cameos and some plot points. He's got a source over there. And he says Viranon also said he doesn't think Wan is actually going to direct. I don't like that. Luckily, I'm going to take it. Let me see if I can find the full tweet here. I hopefully can just take it that it's his opinion, because don't get me wrong. I would have thought that too. If you would have asked me for the news, I thought, no, there's no way. He's just going to be a producer, right? Because at the same time, it's like the idea of, okay, if you hate the sequels, then come back, make your own. And this is where it's weird, right? Because I get there's a camp where there's a Saw camp, and there's a bunch of people like Amanda and Hoffman and all the stuff. He even kind of made a joke about Spiral, but the idea of James Wan had to be strongly talked out of just deleting all the song continuity. What does it matter? Like when people also were mad that they were talking about going back to basics, because I have a Saw algorithm, because I follow some things in some accounts. It's one of my favorite franchises, right? So I saw a lot of people that I don't follow, but definitely just because the algorithm like almost mad by James' comments. And it's just like, the Jigsaw original story ended with 3, and then it really ended again with the final chapter. And then you got Spiral and Jigsaw, which kind of carried on for a little bit. Spiral was its own thing, but you got some kind of spin-offs, and then you got X, which came back and dovetailed some stuff. It's not even the point where the original sequels were like they got a right ending. I'm not talking about quality wise, it's just not like, I understand if, let's say, there was a big cliffhanger, things were up hanging. It's not that this Saw franchise hasn't even already ended once. It's ended like 2 to 3 times. There has been more closure than almost any other franchise you could get. There might be a situation where it's like, we made this movie, years later, we finally got to do a sequel, here it is. They got closure multiple times, with The Flash, we got multiple times. So I don't understand why any fans would be mad about this, because they did fucking create this, right? I get it. They didn't create Hoffman and other characters, Amanda, that you may have loved as far as like where they went, but still they created this. This was, and like I'm talking about, these are 2 young guys that made a hit that I guarantee you, to get those sequels and to sign the rights away, did it so like, hey, I can get more money so I can go on and feed my family, make a career for myself, which they both have done, right? So it's unfair if people kind of put them in like this box of like, oh, well, why didn't they stick around? Because they want to do other things. They don't want to be tied to Saw. Maybe they saw as like a one-off, right? So that's where, for me, they did create this thing, right? And it's like the sequels have gotten so many endings, that's fine. And why wouldn't you want, like, they have every right to do this, and why wouldn't Saw need a refresher? I know people like myself love that, but when we got to the point of 10 and then possibly 11 where it's like, well, we're just going to do flashbacks to the old stuff. It's like, that's why I saw 10 when you get the Hello Zep moment. There's no cool reveals or big twists. You know why? Because they can't do anything, because everyone's dead. It's a prequel. That's what I love about the sequels, where you get this, like, oh, I didn't see that, or that ties back that. You can't tie it to anything. You can only tie it to the movie with itself, which to me has something to do with the Saw franchise, right? So even them, if they had to talk them out of fucking getting rid of the sequels, why? It's Blumhouse. Just start off anew. Like they even said, like, we want to make it that, like, of course, people of the old will enjoy it, but something that the new legacy of watchers will watch these films that maybe have never been shot or didn't care to, right? They even talked about, like, there still will be those gore aspects, but like they wouldn't want to get there. So I do think, at least if he's not directing it as Bubs, I do think he's gonna have at least a big hand, at least even a story by credit. Let me see here. What was let's see if I can find. I wonder if he took it down, because I'm not seeing anything. Let's see. You said I sent a DM Twitter with a link to. Oh, thank you very much, S Bubs. Guy in the chair helped me out. That's the problem when people like do the response stuff on there. Let's see. Someone said I don't think this is true. Unfortunately, yeah. To be honest, James producing it most because Saw updates took it down. Right. That's why I thought it was odd. Viranon says, I don't believe James is directing or Leigh Whanell is writing. I'd love to be wrong for both neither, but I've been told by a couple people that are both producing, James is more involved than Leigh is, which I've gotten the vibe already. Let's see. Brand new story. James has never even liked Amanda's Apprentice. I can't imagine you want to make a movie focusing on her and Hoffman. So you know what? I will thank you, S-Bubs. I will put a question mark when I upload this now to the actual news story if this is happening. So now, if it's not official, because let me see, because I thought that was James Wan directing Saw. I want to see if it came from anywhere. Because if it really did not come from, let's see. Just stuff like confirms he's back to do another Saw with Leigh, but it's not like directing, right? Because this is from World of Real. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, there you go. There is some stuff. Because then it's like the original story. Let's see. There was a story going around. We wanna hark back to the spirit of the original film. We want to make another scary Saw movie. We definitely want to go back to the spirit of that first film. And then it was, this person, the original source, UPI, seems to have retracted headline. Man, I'm learning live on air. God damn it. Which was my bad, because like usually there should be more people like making a big deal, but I saw it go around enough. But I do think what you're not saying there. So I guess to circle that back, damn, where's my boy here? Where is he? 1 second. That'll make sense. We have so many clips now.
Look at me! Oh no! Jesus Christ!
So that is a bit of a bummer. I don't think it'll happen. Maybe there's a chance. I still don't think it will now. Now that it's the case of, that got me very excited. I was hyped. That would have been like a most anticipated movie easily of that decade. Still them being involved in it more helps. And I do think it's like, I think Leigh, I agree that because like, it felt like with the press release, James Wan was all over that when Blumhouse got there and was like, yeah, Leigh's here too, and it makes sense a bit because James directed, but I could see them both getting a story by credit, for sure produced, but a story by credit. And if it's their vision, great. I do think that I'd like to see, okay, now that they're in control in the sense of Blumhouse, no matter what's making a Saw sequel, right? And it's like, we're making it with or without you, where maybe before it was like, you could be involved, but like, you got to do this. Where now it's like, hey, we want to make it. You could be involved. What would you do with it? I feel like they have more say for sure. Both of them have been super successful. Look at James, multi-billion-dollar director. So for me, yeah, April, let's get James Wan, Jigsaw versus Gabriel. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's say, saw updates deleted and said Hollywood Handle got the wrong source. Yeah. That's where it seems like it's a game of telephone. What's the problem? And that's where for me, it was, I saw it for source, but then I saw multiple people talk about it. So I just thought, okay. And I didn't see it discussing film day because when it was during the weekend, I was doing stuff. So it's a case of you missed a notification, it's gone. So that makes sense. That was probably even that, like, we're going to do another Saw movie makes it feel like somebody, and who knows, maybe something could happen. He has that Call of Cthulhu movie. I don't think it would be a bad idea. I could see him as a director being like, I don't know if I want to tackle it to like ruin my reputation on it, but I would love it if it actually happens and gets confirmed. But the idea of getting rid of the sequels, I'm fine with that. And I do think it needs to harken back to the older ones. I think it got too elaborate. I think we all talked about that, where I don't even mean the story stuff. I just mean the idea of all the traps, all the situations, sometimes the twists. Yeah. And that to me is fine, where it's like, if he did, I get that, right? To a smaller degree, it's not going to happen. Well, I guess it could happen one day, but like, okay. Let's say this is why you listen to Trash told you in the last 5 minutes of the episode. Let's say if we were ever do a follow-up to Adrenochrome because the Patreon stuff and the festival stuff went better than we thought. As I've said before, which I hope we would, because someone asked a very good question, and I don't know who asked it. Someone in the chat, someone did ask a very good question about Adrenochrome, like, how does this happen? If this scene happens like this, there's stuff that needs to be answered for certain things, right? But that story ended by itself. As I've said before, that we own that property. We got, I think, like 6-7 festivals. Unless there's a Hail Mary, don't think anyone's going to buy it. And that's fine. Doesn't happen. You're very the few lucky. Would I like to snap my fingers that happen? Yes. But we know the name of the game, where it's like, we got to work hard and even just establish on our own, right? So that's always the idea. The fact that we've been to, I think it's 16, 17 festivals and won 7 of them. I didn't even know if we're going to win anything, right? So I'm very happy with that. But let's say in the sense something did happen and they do Adrenochrome 2. And I go, I got this idea. It's like, yeah, that's great, but we're going to do this, and this. And it's like, oh, that kind of sucks. But like, yeah, but what if you got enough money to now fund your next film or your next two? It's like, yeah, it's kind of tough. So that's why years later, so the idea of Amanda, right? If they were to go, oh yeah, the Hunter character, he actually is doing this, this, and this. It's like, well, when I wrote that character, I didn't think about that at all. So I could see a thing when they wrote that Saw and they see that Hoffman was there and Amanda and fucking Logan, which I don't count. That doesn't count all of me. But like all these people, if Juan and Leigh were like, like I didn't write someone with the ideas getting all this help, all this stuff, right? So it does have to be odd because that's never happened to me. That happens to creators all the time, though, right? It's literally just like, and I guess it'll happen when my kids grow older, right? Where they make decisions that like, well, it's out of my hands now. But that's where it's like, it's like you wrote the screenplay and the story, and now someone's taken it and done more with it than you. They've done now 9 versions of this with something that you had nothing to do with, right? So that's why I'm all for it. We got enough of the old Saw stuff. Obviously now, if he's not writing, not producing, or not directing, a little bit more bummer because I was very excited to see what he could do. I just thought years later, just to me, a different director, like, okay, what can he bring to Saw now? I still hope maybe he just like does the Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself, but I guess we'll find out. So thank you for that correction, S Bub. So there you go. But or at least people redacting. I just hadn't seen that yet. So but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I'll be back later this week with that evergreen one, unless some big news breaks. And I promise you, you'll not be boring. Thank you again, to everyone in the chat. Thank you, everyone that listened after the fact or watch after the fact. Have a good rest.